Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. Today I am on family vacation in Colorado, but I am bringing you my Christmas in July 2022 video number 4. I have 4 projects for you today and I hope you enjoy them. So let's get crafting. For today's first project, we are making a metal frames Mary sign. I'm using 5 of these picture frames from Dollar Tree that have the metal background, some tumbling tower blocks, these letters from Hobby Lobby, and some ribbon. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the stickers if possible. This one was really hard. And the little easel backs, if you just go back and forth with them, they'll actually break right off. We're going to remove the back easel from all 5 of our frames first of all. Then once we have that off, we're going to open up those little tabs and remove the cardboard backing and the metal from the frames so that we can paint the frames first before we put those back in. Next, we're going to paint all 5 of our frames with our Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson. I love this color, especially for Christmas. It's a nice, bright, cheery red. I'm going to do the fronts of the frames that are like the paper, but they look like wood, and then also around all of the side edges, top, bottom, and side edges of the frames. You can do a little bit on the inside if you want, but I don't know if that is necessary. Then coming back to our metal backing, I'm going to use this mini screwdriver from Dollar Tree. And if you just remove the screw there, you can also remove the clip. I'm going to save those clips for another time, but we don't need the clips for this project. Now these letters I love. These are from Hobby Lobby. It's $1.29 and you get 2 of each letter. So I like to pick these up. I think they're a really good value and they're a nice size of wood letter. So I got M, E, R, and Y. I'm only going to use one M, one E, one Y, and both of the R's. Save your other letters for another project. Using my Waverly chalk paint in ink, I'm going to just give 1 coat to the front of each of these letters. Once our frames are all dry, we're going to put the metal backing and the cardboard or MDF backing back into the frame and then push those clips back down. You'll do this for all 5 of the frames and get them ready to decorate on that metal background. Now to make the stand for our sign, you could use tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. Those would take more, obviously. I thrift actual Jenga games from thrift stores, so I'm going to use these. I'm going to make 3 rows of 10 and glue those all together. Here you're going to see I have 2 rows of 10, but then I do add a third one in just a little bit. And what I did to glue these and make sure they were straight is I did 5 blocks together end to end against my little level ruler there. And then I'm going to do 4 rows of that. But remember, I do end up using 30 blocks. But I just feel like with the size of the ruler and 5 blocks fits perfectly, and I can just keep doing groups of 5. Make sure those are all nice and straight. And then in a minute, you'll see we'll take 2 sets of 5 and glue them together actually to make a longer piece that will be 10. Here you go. There's a group of 5 and a group of 5, gluing those end to end to make it 10 Jenga blocks long. I'm going to take 4 more Jenga blocks and glue them together in pairs along the long side there. This is because I'm going to raise up or elevate 2 of my frames just so my my letters are kind of up and down and not all straight across. So here you can see I've got my 3 long lines of 10 Jenga blocks now that are dry. So I'm taking more of my TItebond wood glue, and now I am gluing those 3 long pieces together to make my platform for my sign. While those blocks are drying, I'm going to take some hot glue now, and I'm going to glue one of my wood letters to the center of each of my frames. I have it flush against the bottom edge and then centered. We're going to end up covering up the hole from the screw with a little bow. So we want to have our letter down as far as we can get it and then centered on the metal backing. Once our platform is dry completely with the wood glue, I'm going to give it a good coat of my Waverly chalk paint in ink all over on the top and the sides. Not sure if I did the bottom, that's up to you. And then these 2 pairs of blocks I'm also going to paint black. We'll be using these, like I said, to raise up 2 of the frames. Of course, this is an optional step, but I wanted to just dry brush some white chalk paint over my black on my platform just to add a little more texture and interest to it. I did this on the top and then also on the side edges. I will say you want to be careful about dry brushing over the word Jenga because it will make it kind of stick out more. Now, using some of this red and black checked ribbon from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use it to tie 5 small little bows that we will glue onto each frame to cover up the hole from the screw. And we'll attach those bows down with a little dab of hot glue on the back and then just press it gently over that hole from the screw. Now flipping over my second and fourth frames, I'm going to use some wood glue to attach the little stand that I made out of the Jenga blocks. Let that dry completely so that we can then attach it to our sign. So the first letter, and actually all the frames, I'm going to use a combination of my wood glue and also hot glue to make these stand up on the Jenga block frame that we made. I made sure I knew ahead of time how I was going to equally or evenly space out my frames. I'm going to start with my first, third, and last frames, getting those centered, and then I will add the second and fourth frames that are elevated on the little stands. And with these 2, I'll do the same thing, use a combination of wood glue and hot glue, and then center those between the other 2 frames. Next, I'm using some red and black checked wired ribbon that is available year-round from Hobby Lobby, or if you happen to have some left over from Christmas Dollar Tree last year. I'm just going back and forth, making 3 loops on each side. This method of bow making really only works if your ribbon is printed on both sides like this one is. Some of the Dollar Tree ribbon is not printed on both sides, so you can't really make this type of bow, but you can make the kind that I'm going to show in the next project. So you can see my bow in the back is wider, then the middle one is a little bit smaller, and then the top one is smaller. And then I left a tail at the beginning and at the end, and then just using some jute twine, I'm going to tie all that together in the center and fluff it up, and you have a really easy bow. Because this is going on this sign, I wanted it to be kind of wide, and it's mostly going to be flat. I am then going to dovetail the two ends by cutting into the center from the wired outside edge. I love this sign with the frames. It's so nice and big, can make a great entryway piece. And now all we're going to do is we're going to decorate it by adding our bow in the center. And then I'm going to take some of this lamb's ear from Walmart, or you can get it at Hobby Lobby year round, cutting little pieces, and we're just going to glue those to our base, tucking it behind the ribbon, and then tucking another piece behind the first piece. This you just kind of play with. Use what florals you have on hand or what greenery. I know Walmart has certain ones that they do carry year round, but even Dollar Tree has some plain greenery ones available year round as well. And here's our finished product. I love it. You could also add 5 more frames to the back side and maybe make it for fall by painting those orange and saying happy or something like that. If you are stopping by my channel for the first time today, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see, and you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your support of my channel. And I hope everyone will make sure to hit that bell and check your notifications. Make sure they're set to all so YouTube will let you know each time I upload new content. For my second DIY today, I'm going to use a pizza pan to make an ornament-shaped sign using, like I said, a pizza pan, or you can use one of the wood rounds from Dollar Tree, one of these adhesive wall tiles, and we will use a piece of a wood rectangle plank. Now, this was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. There is an adhesive backing, and then you have this white piece on the back that is sticky. So my plan was to center this in the pizza pan, press it down really well, and try to get a crease so that I could then trim away the excess that wasn't needed to go around the shape of the circle. Here you can see I'm trying to do that with my fingertip knife. I decided maybe to first take some scissors and cut off that excess corner. When I did that, however, I noticed that the gray or the silver ornamental side was not attached on the inside to the adhesive plastic. So there was a lot of air in there, and that was going to be a problem. So I went ahead and peeled off this white adhesive part, going to do away with that. And now I'm just working with the front piece that is the ornamental raised wall tile. So now I'm going to try to trace to get close to the size of circle. I'm not sure what would be the best way to do this, but sometimes you just have to keep changing what you do until it works. So I traced it a little bit with my pen, and now cutting around that with my scissors to get some of that excess off. You can see though, when I try to lay it back down, it's still a little bit too big. So we're going to go a little bit at a time, holding it in place, using my scissors to make a good crease, and just keep trying to trim it away until we get it to fit inside the bottom of the pizza pan. I do like the raised edge of the pizza pan for this project, but if you want it to be easier, just glue this to the front of one of the wood rounds from Dollar Tree or even from Hobby Lobby, and that'll be a lot easier of a process for you. Once I had the wall tile cut to the right size, I'm going to put a generous layer of Mod Podge onto my pizza pan, and then we'll go ahead and stick down that wall tile circle that we made and press it down really well. I did let this dry for quite a while, at least overnight, and then I came back to it, trying to make sure it was really stuck down well to my pizza pan before proceeding to the next step. I did have to add some Mod Podge as I went, but now that it's dry, I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and I'm going to go over the entire front of my project here, the edge of the pizza pan, and getting in all the little nooks and crannies of our wall tile. Once the white was dry, I decided to take my antique wax, and I'm going to really lightly dry brush this over the raised parts of the wall tile. I love how this just brings out the just the beautiful raised decor of this wall tile. Makes it look really kind of vintagey and old-fashioned. And so once I get the antique wax over those raised areas, I am going to take a paper towel and rub it out a little bit. If this is not a look that you like, you could use any color of paint to dry brush over, and just look how it makes that raised part just kind of pop out. I did then also take the antique wax and go around the edge of my pizza pan as well, and then rubbed away the excess. I love this look and think it's going to look so pretty. If your Christmas decor is more of a vintage style, this would be great. Now I took a piece of one of the wood planks, the rectangular ones. I'm going to also cover this with our antique wax, wiping it on, or brushing it on, and then wiping away the excess. We're going to make this be like the top part of our ornament, you know, that has the little screw top part. So once it was dry, I marked out like I think 3/4 inch sections, and just going to draw some lines with a Sharpie to make it look like the top of an ornament. Once I had my lines on there, I also took my Sharpie and just kind of went around the edges just to give them a little bit more of definition. And I'm going to glue that onto the top of my pizza pan using some of the Fix-All adhesive from Dollar Tree made by Super Glue. Now I have this little wood tag. I think it's from Hobby Lobby. I'm not exactly sure. It's just in the unfinished wood shapes. Could also have been from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take one, and I'm going to paint the entire thing with my black chalk paint. Going to make it kind of look like a chalkboard tag. Once that's dry, I'm taking one of my Elmer's chalk paint markers from Walmart in white. This is the ultra fine tip, and I'm just going to write the word joy on there, kind of going over it a few times to make it a little thicker of the letters, and then we'll be adding this to our project towards the end. If you don't have the best handwriting, you could also use letter stickers for this as well. Now I'm going to show you that other type of bow I was telling you about. I'm going to cut 3 lengths of this white and black buffalo checked ribbon that is available at Hobby Lobby year-round. I believe it's also 1.5 inch, and it is wired. We're going to cut, like I said, 3 pieces, and then with 2 of the pieces, we're going to make a loop. So you'll see here I'm just going to loop it around. It overlaps a little bit on the back, and we're going to just attach it to itself with some hot glue. We'll make a second loop just like this in the same way, trying to get them to be about the same size this time, and attach that one with hot glue as well. Then with our third piece, we're going to make our tail. So we're going to fold that third piece in half, kind of at an angle like this, and put some glue there on that little triangle underneath to hold it together. Now, once all of our pieces are dry, we tie them all together and then dovetail our ends and make it look like this super cute 4-loop bow. Then taking some of this, I think it's called boxwood. This is from Walmart in their inexpensive floral section year round. Cutting some little pieces and putting hot glue on them. I'm just tucking them in around that wood plank piece. And then we will also add some of these red berries that I had left over from last Christmas, but you can use just whatever you have on hand. Once we get the greenery in there though, I'm going to take a piece of jute twine, tie it through the hole of our tag, and then we'll tie that jute twine around the center of our bow. So it's going to kind of dangle, hang down from the center of our bow, but you want to make sure you do that before you glue your bow onto your project. Now we'll get those berries in there like I was saying. Just again, like always with using florals, just use what you have on hand or what you can find at your local stores, and then go ahead and glue your bow onto the center bottom of your little wood piece. And I love how that tag kind of hangs down. I saved 3 red berries to glue to the center of my bow. This helps cover up the jute twine knot. Then if you want to be able to hang this, take another piece of jute twine. I usually double it, tie knots, and then I hot glue those knots to the back of the wood piece. That's just better than trying to glue it to the pizza pan itself. And then your sign will be able to hang. And here is our finished product. Again, you can take this idea and use whatever colors and florals you have or you want for your decor. If you love budget home decor DIY videos like this, please consider giving this video a thumbs up, as that lets YouTube know people are enjoying my content and they will show it to more and more viewers. Someone called me the Nativity Queen in my last video. I have another nativity idea for you using one of these house-shaped chalkboards from Dollar Tree, some burlap, some Excelsior grass, and some tumbling tower blocks, and some wood beads or plugs. The first thing I'm going to do is use my antique wax, brushing it on, wiping off the excess just around the frame of our chalkboard house to give it more of a vintagey look. I love doing this technique, especially on all the great unfinished wood products that Dollar Tree has been carrying. Make sure you do the side edges as well so that your project looks nice and finished. Same way, brushing it on and wiping off the excess, and this does make it dry pretty quickly. Now you could leave the black background or the white if you have one of those. I decided to use some of this wood grain scrapbook paper that's available year round from Hobby Lobby. Using my fingernail, I'm kind of tracing out the shape of the house. Then I'm going to cut it with my scissors, and then we're going to fit it over that black chalkboard background and Mod Podge that into place. Now that we have our house-shaped stable all made, we're going to use some tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. These two that I'm gluing at an angle are going to be the manger for baby Jesus, and then I'm going to glue two more together end to end to make a platform, and then I saw that one I'm going to cut a little bit off so it's a little smaller for baby Jesus. One tumbling tower block I'm painting with Pool. That is a Waverly chalk paint color. It's a really nice light blue, great for Mary. And then the one tumbling tower block that will be Joseph, I'm going to paint with my light gray called Mineral, also a Waverly chalk paint. I'm so glad I can still actually get these at my Walmart. I know they're going away, but I can still get them now. So the smaller piece that I cut a little bit off of, I'm going to paint white, and this will be our baby Jesus block. Now those two that I glued together to be the manger and the two that you see there on the table yet, I'm going to use the antique wax on these as well, just to give them that nice dark stained wood color, brushing it on and then wiping off the excess. Now the long piece here, I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to glue that right at the bottom of my little stable. It's just going to give a little bit more stability to our project and a little bit of a platform. Then the manger one, I'm going to also put hot glue on the back side and glue that to the back of our stable there to hold it in place. Next, we'll go ahead and glue on our Mary body there, and then our Joseph, I put a little bit higher up so it makes it look like he's taller. And then baby Jesus's body is going to cover that space underneath so that you won't see that gap there. So we'll glue baby Jesus's body kind of a little bit to Joseph and then also to the bottom of the manger there. Next, I'm going to take a length of this burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. I've actually found this in the Crafter's Square aisle hanging up in plastic. I'm going to cut a longer piece kind of to go over Mary's head. So we'll get this wood plug glued down. You could use beads as well. I just thought these, because they're flat on the back, are a little bit easier to use for this. Then put a little bit of glue on her head and on the sides of her body to put this little piece of burlap around. I just love this, all the different textures, and yet it's still fairly neutral. And then I'm going to cut a really small piece of the burlap ribbon to put on top of Joseph's head just to represent some hair. Now to finish this up, we're going to add some of this Excelsior grass from Dollar Tree just to represent some hay at the bottom of this stable, just two little chunks, and just hot glue those down. And then it's really easy just to use some scissors to trim away any pieces that are a little unruly or that you just want to remove to clean it up just a little bit. I love how simple this is and what a great little touch this adds, also adding in some more texture and a little bit of color as well. To finish up the project now, I'm going to take another one of these wood word stickers from Hobby Lobby. This time I'm going to use the word hope. You could use peace. You could use so many different words. And I'm just going to stick that down right above Mary and Joseph, and then add an unpainted natural wood color star. I believe these are from Michael's, and our little nativity sign is complete. Please check the description box below the title of this video to see a list of all of the supplies I've used for each of these projects, and also some important links to my Amazon storefront and also my Magnolia Design Company website. For today's fourth and final project, I wanted to make a piece that was year-round usable using 4 of these wood pallets from Dollar Tree, a couple tags from Hobby Lobby, and 2 of the square wood planks from Dollar Tree. So the first thing I'm going to do is I wanted this to be a color scheme that, like I said, could be used year-round. So I went ahead and painted all 4 of my palettes with my black Waverly chalk paint, and then once that was dry, I did take my white and dry brush it over the top. So my idea is to kind of make a vase that you could change out the florals or whatever you wanted to put inside for each season. So once those were painted, we'll let those dry, and then taking 2 of these wood planks, you could use just 1, but I wanted to make the base a little bit thicker, so I'm wood gluing 2 of these square planks together, and then we'll use our small little craft clamps at the corners and on each of the sides just to hold these together really well until they are completely dried together. Then I'm going to also paint this black as well to match the palettes. Next, we're going to use some of that TItebond wood glue and just putting a couple dots right here on the raised part on the back. We are going to make 2 of our corners, putting our palettes together like this, let them dry completely. And then once those are completely dried, we will glue our 2 corner pieces together to make our complete box. And these will stand up so that the lines of the palettes are going up and down. Here you'll see my 2 dried corners and how we will then overlap them and glue them together to complete the 4 sides. Once that was dry and secure, you can see I did also go ahead and paint the entire inside black. You could have done that as you were painting each palette, maybe would have been easier. But then running some hot glue along the bottom edge of all of my palettes there in a square, we're going to glue that right to the center of our little base that we made with the 2 square wood planks. It fits almost perfectly, so I was really happy about that. Now, to make this more appropriate, I guess, for each season, I'm going to put 2 of these mini stencils on each tag. So I'm going to do spring and summer on one, and then I'm going to do fall and Christmas on the other. Here for my Hello Spring from the Spring Minis, I'm just going to use a little bit of the Tiffany Teal to stencil the words Hello Spring, and then I'll come back in with my Magnolia green chalk paste and do the little wreath that goes around the words. And here's the peel and reveal. I love how beautiful these images look so simply using these stencils. On my next tag, I'm going to do the It's Fall Y'all from the 2021 Fall Minis using some orange tiger, some canary yellow, I believe, and some chocolate brown, and then also again the magnolia green for the words. For more information on the stencils and other products from Magnolia Design Company, be sure to check my website link, which is in the description box of this video. Once the front sides of my tags were dry, I did flip them over. You can see I'm doing God Bless America for the summertime and then Merry Christmas for the winter. Now I did spray my tags with a clear matte spray so that the stenciled images wouldn't wash off if they happen to get wet. But you can see I have just some assortment of Christmas florals I had left over from last year, and I have the tag hanging on the middle two pieces of the palette. The fall can flip around to the Christmas, and then on the other side you can have the spring that flips around to the summertime. So I love that this is versatile, can stay out all year, and just change out the florals for each season. Thanks again so much for joining me today. Please let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite, and we'll see you next time.